Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first Crayon Gods podcast. And I just thought of this right before we started the podcast, but we should totally call this the Godcast.
Ooh.
Genius, I know.
Well, as we said,
Matt immediately shoots down my idea.
We have to call it the Crayon Godcast.
The Crayon.
So as to not offend.
The Craycast?
The Craycast. Crayon Cast. Podcast.
Oh yeah, because no one else ever thought that before.
Yeah. Anyways, what we're talking about this week on the podcast
COD. That's the Call of Duty.
is E3, because that just happened, and obviously we're interested in some of the news that came out of that event.
Absolutely.
So, with that in mind, Connor, you have a few statistics about E3.
Well, yeah, I've just been perusing the internet here a bit, because, you know, who doesn't? And
I don't.
Got myself a little top 10 search here. Now, this source here is a group here called Listen First. How credible they are, don't ask me. I'm imagining that this would entail a kind of combination of YouTube, Google, all your
A curated
primary...
Bing. Yahoo.
Bing
is what-
Bing. That's
is the
number
crucial
one. Absolutely, that's where they pulled it all from.
Oh. I see.
And so here, if we're talking about most popular games of E3, right? Now, for those of you listening, you probably have a sense already as to what was announced and what has kind of got you hyped up. And so relevant to that, the top 10 here of this list that I'm going to pull up, we have The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild,
Does
at
look
number one.
pretty interesting.
So we got
so
Nintendo
excited.
number one. And that's the only time Nintendo is really featured in this top 10.
Surprise,
But
surprise.
if you're going to be featured once, go number one.
Might as well go big or go
Quick thing I
home,
heard
right?
about that game is that you can actually, if you have like the amiibo or something for like the wolf,
Oh, yeah.
is you can, from Twilight Princess,
Right.
and you can put that into your game and have that wolf from Twilight Princess follow you around.
That's
Serious?
cool.
And then I also read another article,
What?
this was on Facebook, so I'm not sure how credible this one is.
Better
Right.
than Bing.
But you could put any amiibo dog from any Nintendo game in, and it would help you. That seems less credible. But
Yeah.
Huh.
I didn't actually read the article. I just saw the title. And that's
Like,
what it was saying.
If
Interesting.
you had
So-
something from Nintendogs, you could like throw one of
Yeah,
those
so
in.
it seems kind of weird.
Is there like a Duck Hunt amiibo or something?
Yeah, so I'm not sure about that.
There you go.
Yeah.
I know at least that the Twilight Princess wolf.
That'd be sweet.
Something else I was listening to as well about this Breath of the Wild is that the map for the game is going to be, I want to say 14 times larger than Skyrim.
Whoa!
What?
And it's an open world game, right?
It could be.
Yes.
I have two numbers in my head. It's either 9 times more or 14 times more. I'd have to
Either way.
double check that. But
Pretty rare. That's
regardless,
a pretty large
we're talking
game.
big scale open world here. This is no Sly Cooper.
What I found interesting about the trailer is it looks like you can climb mountains, which dramatically...
Like free climb.
Yeah,
Anything.
free climb.
That was
I know.
kind of ridiculous.
I know.
thought, but
Well, I mean, physically, yeah, but I mean that dramatically increases the amount of space you have. Because I mean, in
Yeah.
Skyrim, it was a large map, but a lot of that was taken up by unclimbable mountains.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
that was, it actually reduced the size of the map, even though it was still big. So it'll be interesting to see how that'll play in because there's be that much more area to explore.
Totally.
I'm curious how that worked that in with classic Legend of Zelda puzzle solving, because a lot of the time climbing does feature into certain puzzles, especially in the first dungeon. Usually has a lot of climbing walls.
yeah, with
And
the
so-
mines and whatnot.
Yeah, so I'm curious how free climbing will affect how they do puzzle solving.
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
Do
if you
think-
can climb any
Yeah.
wall.
It could be that it has to be a certain type of mountain.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
It could be like a textured thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe you need a certain pair of gloves you only get
Sure.
at the end of the
Oh,
game.
That
true.
could be.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you
They
think
do like
about,
their equipment.
Yeah, you
in
think
Zelda
about
games.
past Zelda titles and everything's very linear, right? And so with puzzles, it makes sense. Like,
But
there's something
except
you can-
for
This game's not linear.
that's
I
what
heard
that's
you
what
can
I'm
beat
saying.
the boss right away.
But the
you
last
can beat
Zelda
the final
game,
boss at the very beginning of the game. I heard someone.
yeah, and the
was
last
saying.
Zelda game wasn't linear either. So I'm wondering if they'll be purposely breaking away from that.
Right.
Anyways,
That's number one. So lots to get excited for there for sure. Number two on this list, we've got the PlayStation God of War. Now, call it a reboot, call it its own original. I think it's essentially its own story,
Yeah,
from what I
because it's
understand.
switching to what Nordic,
But it's
Nordic?
more Yeah, so new kind of storyline, new features, new approach to the game, but with a title that is well respected, well liked by the masses.
I find it interesting how they're still bringing Kratos into it, though, as the dad, even though it's Norse mythology. Or that's what I've gotten out of it. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's still Kratos.
It's still Kratos.
But
now
switching
he
to
like
Norse and
killed all the
his-
Greek gods or something. I
Yeah,
haven't even played the game, so I don't even know.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
totally.
I'm very unfamiliar with the whole God of War thing.
It interests me. I just never played PlayStation, so...
Oh, the only time I played Kratos is on PlayStation All Stars,
Right.
PS3.
Yeah.
So it's not like I've really had a chance to explore a whole ton of the world of Kratos,
Yeah.
God of War, and all that jazz. But anywho, moving on to number 3, Battlefield 1.
Of
course. Battlefield
Garbage.
1. I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered it.
I-
That game's...
I honestly just can't
I
wait
don't
for
know.
this game.
Yeah.
It
I
looks
kind of
amazing.
jumped onto the whole Battlefield train really late. But I've really enjoyed just playing Battlefield 4 recently.
Well, see, I've never owned a Battlefield title.
Oh,
I've never really even played much of a Battlefield title. But I thought, if I'm going to start somewhere,
might start.
Battlefield 1.
Yeah,
Because
you know,
it's-
Looks like a great
first-
place to start.
It's going back to its roots, and I think what's exciting about it for me is, especially having played a lot of COD the last couple of years,
Yeah.
COD has become so much. I mean, half the time, is it Halo? Is it COD? Like, it's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
kind
all.
of
I know.
merged into
I know.
one
Obviously, it's not
futuristic-
true, but just the whole futuristic twang of it all is sort of. It gets a little old, especially with now Infinite Warfare coming out. I'm sure it'll be an awesome game in its own right, but I really appreciate the World War One. Going
Yeah.
back to the roots of
Because that
first-person
doesn't. There
shooter
aren't
and-
very many games set
No.
in World War
No,
One.
Well,
exactly.
all the original kind of titles were. Well, I guess
Medal
not.
of Honor?
Yeah,
No,
like
Medal
they
of
were,
Honor
I
was
guess
a-
they were all World War II.
Was a lot of World War Two.
Oh, that was
But
too.
basically those kind of shooters all originated from the World Wars, and
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to go back now with good graphics,
Yeah.
good gameplay, all this kind of stuff, and reboot that title. And I was looking at gameplay footage, and it just looks beautiful. Just
Yes.
the terrain and the like landscapes and
Yeah.
how the light plays off everything. It,
Yeah.
it just looks like a good game graphically.
I think what EA makes it, right?
I forget.
Isn't it?
Probably.
Or DICE,
DICE,
anyways.
DICE, yeah,
They've got
yeah.
a good reputation, I think, for all the whole making those graphics just
Yeah.
look nice. I'm trying to think of their other games. I know there was another one I was thinking in my head that had.
Well, I mean, Battlefront.
Yeah, they did Battlefront, right?
Yeah, and Battlefront looks so cinematic
It looks-
and beautiful.
Oh, yeah,
It's like
the
throws you
graphics
straight into
of the
the
game
Star
are
Wars
amazing.
universe.
Oh, it's
So-
eyegasm for sure.
I'm excited.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I pre-ordered that title.
Yeah, good show. Pound it.
All right.
Pound over the podcast. the Godcast. Crayon Godcast. Number 4, we have Detroit Secure Human, which is a PlayStation title. Or sorry, Become Human.
Yeah.
I know we've had this discussion before. I know nothing about this game other than it's in Detroit.
It's you play as an android who's brought in to deal with a situation where another android has taken a girl hostage.
Oh.
And like the androids are designed to follow orders. And so you, as an android following orders, have to come in and negotiate with this other android that's not following orders and try and get it to release the girl. And you can kind of play through the scenario multiple ways, and different decisions that you make will bring about different outcomes.
Right.
That's at least what I saw in the trailer. I believe David Cage is involved with it. David Cage is the guy behind.
That's Nicholas's brother, right?
He's behind Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, so he's the more like cinematic artsy side of video games.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it could be interesting.
Cool.
Number 5, this I know one that we're kind of excited about here at Crayon Gods. We Happy Few on
Looks
Xbox.
So disturbing.
That, as twisted as it looks, I mean, come on.
It does look interesting.
That
Oh
is
yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
very interested in following that one. I'm getting
yeah.
BioShock vibes from it in terms of like this dystopian world that like was designed to look pleasant, but it's really dark underneath.
Well, I was
Yeah.
watching the trailer. I know in the trailer that the main character, he gets sick at one point. Like,
Well, he
nauseates over.
doesn't get sick. He just stops taking the joy pill.
No,
Well, that's what I mean.
think
Like, he
what he's
nauseates
saying-
over what he eventually does see as a result of taking the pill,
Right.
and as a viewer, you feel that, you know,
You
because
feel
it's
sick.
like once you realize what's going on in this world, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Reminds me of the slightest bit of Portal, whereas in it's all kind of, you're in this testing thing, and all of a sudden you escape behind the scenes and you realize all is not what it seems.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
guess
it's all kind of messed up in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so That'll be a good one for sure.
That'll be fun.
And so that's also Xbox's only listing on this top 5. So Nintendo is the 1, Xbox has the 1 at number 5, and then PlayStation, EA, which obviously will be. I guess what I should clarify is that by Xbox, that's the only exclusive.
Yeah.
At this point, that's in the top 10. I mean, Battlefield 1 will also be on Xbox, PS3,
Right.
PS4,
Yeah.
PC, all that. But yeah, number 6 we have Horizon Zero Dawn, PlayStation title.
Cool.
Similar in that has sort of the past meets future kind of idea, from what I understand.
Post-apocalyptic meets tribal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting one for sure.
It's like an archery or something, right?
Well,
or you have to take up robotic dinosaurs.
Bow
or
is
something.
one of your main weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw a trailer for that.
It looks like an odd combination of stuff, but I think
it'll be really cool.
Yeah.
Number 7. Oh, here's a title I haven't actually heard of: The Last Guardian.
You haven't heard of The Last Guardian?
I'm sorry.
It's only been announced for years.
I'm a terrible human being. I'm
game-
terrible.
I don't know.
It's been in development hell for years. Like, this game was announced so
That's
long
probably
ago.
why.
I can't
I don't
even...
listen to development hell. I only want good stuff.
Yeah, no, it looks so good. I've been so excited for this game for forever, and they keep delaying it, pushing it back. They keep going
No Man's
silent
Sky.
about it.
I believe the release date that is said in August, though.
hopefully
Yeah,
that's
it was supposed to.
Yeah.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, but Last Guardian is coming out, I think, late October, finally. It's been like 10 years.
10 years?
At least.
Really?
I think so.
That's like-
that seems excessive.
No, that's why it's ridiculous.
Oh.
Well, you know what? Maybe I heard about
Early
it when I was 14.
Xbox
Yeah.
360.
That's probably what happened. I heard about it when I was
Exactly.
14, got all fired up about it, and now 10 years later, I forgot.
Well,
dick all
it's
about
it's
it.
being worked on by Fumito Ueda, who is the guy who did Shadow of the Colossus and Ico, I believe.
I
Yeah,
had been interested in Shadow of the Colossus.
yeah. So like this guy is known for like Shadow of the Colossus is. Ico is iconic, haha. But Shadow of the Colossus
Wow.
is known by a lot of gamers, and so I'm excited to see The Last Guardian, just to see. Because it's been so long since he's made a game.
10 years.
Because Shadow of the Colossus was released in 2005.
Was that
That
old?
was 11 years ago.
Yeah, so he's been working on this
I can
game
math.
for forever. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited. This is finally coming out.
Cool.
Cruel. We got here at number 8. Crayon. Resident Evil 7 comes in at number 8.
Something.
No,
something
I
VR,
haven't
something.
I've
played
never
Resident
played any of
Evils
them
1
either.
through 6.
Yeah.
But I can
I
imagine
didn't even
it's
know there
probably
was
better
6.
than the first 6, or at least a further development of the story.
Well,
One
they're
of the
doing
two.
VR, so they're experimenting
They're
with
doing
that.
VR.
Is it
That'll be
video?
legit.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. That'll be.
I'm just not familiar with the series very much, so I don't have much to say about
So
that.
if you like Resident Evil, it's in the top 10 of this particular poll. So feel free to rejoice and feel proud of.
And those last 3 have all been PlayStation exclusives as well.
Well,
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, Last Guardian, and Resident Evil 7 were all at least announced in the PlayStation, in the Sony conference.
Right. So maybe not exclusive, but
I'm not sure.
yeah.
I think The Last Guardian is PlayStation exclusive,
okay.
at least.
That's something that one could always research should they want to learn more. Number 9 brings in Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, which a lot of people are excited for. I'm pretty
I would
sure.
imagine
It's been a while
that's-
since Mass Effect 3 was released,
Yeah,
I believe,
when was
right?
that?
Like,
That was a while ago.
oh,
Yeah.
Good couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
At least, yeah.
So
And
that'll be interesting. A new installment to the franchise.
I've never actually played through the series. It's one of those series that's kind of a must-play on my list.
I've
but
only played the first one, but I've heard through each game you continue your same profile.
Yeah, your save.
Oh,
your,
really?
Your save file carries over, and like characters that die carry over.
So
into
you
the
make
next
decisions
game.
in that game, and it all reflects.
It'll
in the future.
it'll affect everything.
That's a Mass Effect.
So I wonder if that'll
Yeah.
continue
That's all.
on. Continue on in Andromeda, maybe.
I don't know. I haven't kept up with the game tons because I haven't played the first 3. So
Yeah.
You have to send EA an email and ask them
yeah.
what's going on.
Mhm.
Number 10, wrapping up this top 10 list, is a title called Days Gone.
I know nothing about this
I
title.
don't know nothing.
Nothing.
That's probably why it's at number
Oh,
10.
no, wait, I do know.
Just kidding.
No, no,
Nick
I
coming through
watched-
the clutch.
I watched the trailer and oh yeah, that's right. if this is the one I'm thinking of, it looks like a Last of Us clone.
So good or?
The writing in the trailer I thought was kind of like generic, so my hopes aren't too high. It looks like the Last of Us clone, kind of piling onto that bandwagon. So I don't know. I can't really make a value judgment yet, but my hopes aren't incredibly high.
Sure. I guess depends on your approach and also what console you end up playing.
To clarify, I love The Last of Us. Amazing, like one of my favorite games ever.
It is your favorite.
Yeah, so which is why I think I'm not sure how a clone will be because it won't be as good as The Last of Us, I doubt.
True enough. So, that wraps up the top 10 in terms of most popular games of E3 in regards to kind of the organic searches revolving these games, especially in and around the time of the actual events. And that can be linked to a number of sources, whether that be Google, YouTube, Bing, the works.
Yahoo.
Now, ironically enough, out of these 10 titles, we see 6 PlayStation exclusives, or what we can only expect to be PlayStation exclusives. I got a couple EA titles, which can probably come back and forth between multiple consoles.
Yeah.
And then the one Nintendo title and the one Xbox exclusive title. If we take a peek now at the most popular studios of E3 and the interest surrounding them, the general consensus is that Xbox cleaned up.
Yeah.
They definitely did come out with some really interesting things. I don't know, just looking at the stuff that they were releasing and the content that they were presenting at E3, there was some stuff that got me excited as an Xbox user. One of them, I guess, that I was the most excited about was the Xbox Play Anywhere feature. Just the idea that you can get one game and play it on PC and Xbox. I don't know, I find that pretty intense. I like how they're blurring the lines between console and PC gaming.
Yeah.
Well, it's something that people have wanted for forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and something that ties into that, as I just read earlier, is that Xbox is planning to incorporate mouse and keyboard gaming, or incorporation onto their consoles.
That'll be an interesting thing, and that might help in sort of the shooter realm.
Yeah, because if you're playing a shooter with using a controller versus someone using a mouse, you're at an inherent disadvantage because a mouse is just so much better.
Yeah, and so that was kind of one of my major concerns. But if that's going to be true, then that kind of that gets rid of that.
In the article I read, they said it was not years away, but months away. What they were doing release for that. So
yeah,
okay.
Well, looking at the game list, which you can find right now on the Xbox website, it doesn't look like there's going to be any shooters. Well.
You mean that'll be like cross-compatible?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any like major shooters like COD or Battlefront.
I guess we're talking more like Rocket League.
Probably stuff like that. And I think Gears of War. So I guess that's a shooter. Okay.
Yeah,
but is there massive or is there?
I don't know if there's PvP.
Yeah, I don't know if there's PvP on that.
I think it's just co-op.
There's co-op. Though,
yeah, and so then that makes more sense.
So it doesn't really matter if you have, yeah.
So if I can remember, there's no PvP shooters that I was aware of looking through the list. So then that wouldn't be an issue right off the bat. But the fact that you can create one account and have all your data saved over both systems,
right,
is, I don't know, that just seems awesome. So if you're a console user and then you go on a trip, you can still take that on your laptop or something and play the same game.
As long as it's Windows 10 laptop.
As long as it's Windows 10, like Mac. If you have a Mac and you're trying to game, get with the program. Macs are great for other things, but not so much
GarageBand! Woo!
I love it. But the fact that you can take your games with you is something that's really interesting, I find.
Yeah.
Well, I think the next big thing that really skyrocketed Xbox's views or searches is the whole announcement of obviously the Xbox One S and Project Scorpio.
Yeah, they look sweet.
Xbox One S being slim, the smaller is 40% smaller than the Xbox One currently,
which will be nice. I mean, the Xbox One is a pretty beefy system, in terms of just
taking up
general
a lot of space.
Size. Yeah.
But the biggest, so it's obviously smaller.
Mm-hmm.
It supports 4K streaming and Blu-ray playing or viewing. I don't know. Not 4K gaming though, which is coming next. But and then
Probably 10 years from now.
well,
no.
Scorpio. But
Just kidding.
and then they've added new controllers for it. I think the main difference on this new controller is they've added in Bluetooth, so you can actually wirelessly connect your controller now to a laptop or even a phone or tablet.
Very nice.
Nice.
For gaming.
And I think I read that it was also compatible. Like you can go longer distances with it.
Oh,
Cool.
I heard that too.
So I mean,
Just the whole IR thing.
I don't really see the point of that because at what point are you going to be that far away from your TV at any given moment? Unless you're like having your Xbox in like another room than your TV, but that just seems inefficient.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm sure some people have that set up where they have that issue, but it is nice that you can connect it to computers and tablets and whatnot.
I think part of what excites me the most about this 1S is there's going to be, at the beginning of the release, a limited edition 2 terabytes model. Obviously, for anyone else out there who has an Xbox One, 500 gigabytes, fills up pretty fast.
Sums up.
Take it from me, who thought that would be enough. That it's not.
And then the 1 terabyte, can be enough, but for those serious gamers out there who've got all the new games, that'll fill up.
That fills up so fast.
Yeah, especially with the new games being like 70 gigs.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, so I have the 1 terabyte, and I'd say half my hard drive space has been used up already, and that's on maybe just over a dozen titles, 15 titles.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which,
I mean, I have the 500
Yes,
gigabytes, and I regret getting that one, but that was whatever. And I've filled it up and still have games in my library that I haven't even touched.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to get that 2 terabyte going in there. There is one major downside I've heard. Well, maybe not major, but slight complaint, maybe a downside about the 1S. It won't have an Xbox Connect output.
Oh.
They took that out just to incorporate, make it smaller and more compact or slim.
Yeah.
I did read an article. They are going to be selling an adapter for it that will be going for, I believe, $49. That's US though.
Oh.
Okay.
So like $1 million Canadian.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I mean that could change obviously in time, but you won't be able to plug your Kinect in there without the adapter.
Right.
But I never use the Kinect anyways.
Well, exactly. If you don't use a Kinect, then it's no downside at all.
If you're not playing Kinect games, I think the Cortana feature of the new Xbox, which is also a new feature,
That's true.
having an Xbox being connected with Cortana, you can use your headset to now use the Cortana features.
That is pretty intense.
And so then a lot of the Xbox, or like Xbox, or whatever you say, what is it? Xbox On, or
something
Xbox,
like that. Yeah.
all of those features, will be replaced by Cortana, which is nice.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of that. And then I don't have a Kinect, and that was one thing that I wish I could do the voice commands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to say about the 1S, anyways, is another nice thing is they put, if anyone who has an Xbox 360 or one, you got that huge power bar. You gotta
That is a big
hide
powerball.
somewhere when you're plugging it in. I don't know if you move it around often, but the Xbox One S will have that inside the back of the Xbox.
Nice.
So I'm not sure if they'll have just a longer cord or still just like maybe a half-length cord. But anyways, that's you won't have to worry about that bar
That is nice.
lounging around.
It is. It's very large.
I mean, lounges and bars, they have their place. They have their place.
They do
but
have
not
their place.
together behind a console.
Yes.
Just too
Not
much.
on a shelf with your TV.
Absolutely. Yeah. Totes and goats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the big question is, why on earth would I buy an Xbox One S when I can wait a little bit longer and buy Project Scorpio?
Project Scorpio is gonna be huge.
It's
a revelation or whatever the word is.
It's gonna
Revelation?
rev me up.
I forget.
The whole 6 teraflops GPU.
Wow.
That was a great sound
getting
effect.
emotional over there.
That is 4.5 times the CPU or GPU power of an Xbox One currently. Which is already a huge improvement over the Xbox 360. I don't know about PlayStation 3 or 4.
I don't know.
The PlayStation 4 I know is just a little bit over the Xbox One. So yeah, 6 teraflops is an insane amount. It'll be the most powerful console ever created, and it will support that 4K gaming I was talking about earlier.
Right.
I also heard that it might be supporting a future version of Xbox VR.
Oh, I heard about that.
And so I'm wondering if that's why they're creating it, because I'm wondering if they have a VR in the works.
I didn't know Microsoft had one in the works.
I mean,
it wouldn't
I don't
surprise
really
me.
have any data aside from rumors to go on, but it would make sense how everybody's going to VR. That
Yeah,
they
I
want
mean,
a beefy
Sony's
console.
doing it.
I've heard
so-
mention of
Yeah,
VR for that.
I'm sure
Because
Microsoft
apparently
is.
the PS4 can do VR, but it's like barely.
Well,
VR.
that's right. This Neo is coming at 4.5.
Yeah.
And so I think, that would be, from what I've gathered, they don't have tons of information on the Scorpio.
Nope.
And so I'm wondering if they're keeping things concealed because they have some sort of VR in the works.
I believe
Right.
it's set to be released sometime in either October or end of fall 2017.
Yeah.
Is what I've heard, anyways.
Right.
I think going back to your question, like why would you get the Slim instead
Right.
of the Project Scorpio? Probably Scorpio is going to be ridiculously expensive.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So,
That's true.
and if you're not a hardcore gamer into VR or needing 4K gaming, I my TV can't even do. I don't think it can even do 1080. Like so.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't need 4K gaming.
Mhm.
And so for me, at this point, I'd like to improve my setup. At this point, I just don't need it.
Right.
So then I wouldn't spend all the money on hardware that would just be not used. It would just be wasted CPU power. And
Right.
so for the cheaper price point, I could get something just as good that I would use.
That's true.
So I think that's why they're probably coming out with more. They're trying to expand, they're trying to cater to a wide audience of people at this point, and so they're trying to break that up into more niche markets for the hardcore gamers, more casual gamers, coming out with different products that are all compatible.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A nice thing, though, is that any past Xbox One games will be compatible with both the One S
Yeah.
and the Scorpio.
Oh, and the Scorpio too. Nice.
There-
That's good.
I have also heard slight rumors of they may be making, as far as what the Scorpio is concerned, they may be making Scorpio exclusive games.
Oh.
Obviously, that's way in the future from now.
Right.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Over a year. So, but that might just be incorporating that VR as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make sense.
Yeah.
Because that with all that CPU, I'm sure game developers will want to use that to some
Yeah.
extent and just create hardcore games.
Definitely.
So
Hardcore games. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The best of times. For the best of minds.
Speaking of the best of minds, what a great segue there into exactly what I want to talk about. Because scrap all this Xbox stuff. Xbox is cool. But
Chuck it out like your power bar.
Yeah. my favorite thing from E3 this year was a moment in the Sony conference where they trot out Hideo Kojima. Because Hideo Kojima,
The
if,
legend.
if you've been following his story with Konami, where
The
they've
legend.
been shafting
the
him,
myth, the legend.
exactly, things were just getting bad with Konami. They wouldn't let him go to that award show, and so what does Sony do? Sony brings him out, gives him pretty much a literal red carpet that he totally ignores because he walked in front of it.
That was so bad.
That was a great
Yeah.
video.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
pumped about that.
But it's like, here's the respect that this guy deserves because he is a legend. And then what does he do? He shows like the weirdest trailer of all of E3.
It was bizarre.
Death Stranding has me so intrigued. Because of the theories already surrounding. Not just the trailer, but already the theories. If you want to look it up, there's already a lot of theories about what does the title mean? Death Stranding is a reference to. There's this thing called. I'm just trying to look it up here. Cetacean stranding or something, which is a tendency among creatures like whales and whatnot that we see in the trailer to beach themselves, and then they die. They're stranded. They die. And so Death Stranding is maybe playing off that. Definitely the imagery in the trailer is playing off of that. So the theme of the game seems to be tying together death and life, but then also on the... What's the guy's name? I don't even remember the actor's name.
Actor,
Norman. I don't watch Walking Dead. Norman Reedus, that's who it is. I don't watch Walking Dead, so I'm not super familiar with him. But Norman Reedus has some dog tags that he's wearing, and on that, if you blow it up and look closer, there's some equations, which apparently have stuff to do with I don't know, weird things like, what is it? It's written on here somewhere. I'm just looking at there's an article on Kotaku that talks about some of these various things. They're called the Schwarzschild.
Oh,
Schwarzschild radius.
Yeah, it has to do with black holes.
Yeah, and the Dirac equations. So it's about relativity and quantum mechanics. So maybe there's some crazy sci-fi stuff going on here because we saw those like sci-fi handcuffs that he's wearing. So all that gets me really excited. But what gets me more excited is the fact that Sony is producing this kind of. I mean, it's still technically indie, but Sony's coming alongside people like Hideo Kojima, people like Fumito Ueda, people like David Cage, that we've already mentioned, and saying, you are some of the most creative geniuses ever to make video games. Make some for us.
Well, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's nice that you can be backed by the same, people as, they're behind The Division, Uncharted, those types of games. If you can factor everything that people liked about those titles. I mean, Uncharted 2 is arguably one of my favorite games.
Right.
To take that action sequence and that idea, something so simple that people have come to know and love in gaming, but then, like you've been mentioning, to tie it into something so abstract and so new that, you'll be able to pick up the base mechanics of it at the beginning, but then come 2-3 hours into gameplay, you'll be looking at it going, what the hell am I?
Yeah, exactly.
And that to people is super exciting.
Because if you want to push the medium of video games forward, you need to have those people who have the talent, but also the freedom to innovate. And that's what's happening here, is we've got some of the most talented game directors ever being given the freedom to say, make us some freaking awesome games.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it. So I'm really excited to see, because Hideo Kojima has said in interviews, this is going to be a new type of game. Like kind of what he was saying about Metal Gear Solid was that when he first made it, it was an action game where you want to remain hidden a lot. And he's like, now we call those stealth games. Back then, that wasn't a thing. So he's like, that's what I'm trying to do now with Death Stranding. This is an action game, kind of, but also a few hours in, you're going to say, this is new. This is a new type of game.
That'll be interesting.
So I don't know quite what he means by that, but that's why I'm so excited to see what his mind can come up with, seeing what he's already done for the medium of video games.
Is there a release date or
I was just gonna ask
time at all for this?
No.
Time frame?
No, there's
Probably
no time
sometime in
frame.
2017.
No, I think it'll be longer than that.
Yeah.
They haven't even apparently decided on a game engine yet.
Oh.
Like, this is still...
Like super developmental.
Yeah.
And they have a trailer for it?
Oh, yeah. Well, the trailer
Nice
wasn't...
trailer.
The trailer was a lot of, like, motion capture of Norman Reedus. I don't know
I see.
how much the trailer was actually... I mean, maybe it was using a...
It could have been more of a
basic
teaser trailer type deal. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you see it with a lot of older games, right? I mean, the trailers
Right.
and the build-up, it's all graphically made in such a way that it's aesthetically beautiful, it looks really sharp, and then you get to the actual gameplay and you're kind of left going, I want to see the trailer again.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
in this case,
that culture is
different.
kind of falling away as
totally.
game engines are becoming more and more crazy and
Oh,
powerful.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting game. I mean, the trailer itself is just bizarre.
Yes.
Bizarrely beautiful.
I mean, especially with the whole like disappearing baby.
And the umbilical cord.
Yeah, like did he give birth to this thing?
Is it a clone?
Is it his child? Yeah, it's a little weird.
Is he dead?
Who knows?
So many questions.
So many questions.
All the questions.
The dead crab.
What's with
I mean,
those like
that's what
5
really gets me
people up in the
emotional.
sky at the end?
Yeah.
It's true.
So a lot of questions. It'll be interesting to see how the relativity and whatnot plays into that.
How the
Because
science-
not a whole lot of games have really used that. Like, I can't think of another game that uses black holes in any sort of like serious
scientifically,
way.
serious way.
So it'll be interesting to see if that has a major effect in the A Mass Effect, if you will.
Massive.
Well, yeah, as long as the game doesn't take 10 years to develop,
Yeah.
The Last Guardian, then we'll all be good.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize to Last Guardian fans for not knowing what the heck it means about. I think
should
that's
be
hilarious. I should be, but yet they should be ashamed that it took 10 years to put together.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about that.
Anyways, I believe that is a wrap for our E3 initial.
A rap for a rap.
I didn't do a rap. Did you do a rap?
I think it's just called a rap.
Like a
Have-
RAP rap or
Have you been rapping this
WRAP
whole
rap?
time?
Just think about it as really slow, non-melodic,
You guys
non-rhyming.
lost it.
with
I don't even
rap.
know
no
where this is
music.
going anymore.
Like if you take tempo and pitch and timing out of the equation, then it's totally a rap.
Yeah.
And if you don't take any music, and like
I take it back. It's not a rap.
Oh, there you have it, folks. That's
Fine.
it right there.
There goes my career as a rapper.
So, but yeah,
So high.
that's what we found interesting
so
about E3 anyway. I know there's plenty more out there that we did not address or
Skyrim
get to,
remaster.
Yeah.
and
we've all been waiting for it.
that's something
Yep.
where, well, again, that's more to come.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Yeah, if you guys have anything that interested you, let us know in the comments, and we'd be happy to chat with you about it. But that's it for us for today. So hopefully you enjoyed, and I'm sure we'll have more things to talk about in the future. But for now, you have yourself a good day.
Peace out.
Adios.
Ciao.